Hello, everyone. I'm back. It's Tuesday, and I've started this month talking about Women's History Month and bringing some wonderful ladies to you who will tell you about their journey, their spiritual journey, and their entrepreneurship journey. And today is no different. I have the joy of introducing you to the wonderful Jessa. I've got to know her from working with her in Christian Women in Media. And then I've got to learn that she's just like us baby boomers and millennials. I don't know like millennial or Gen Z or Gen A. I always get it wrong and they always correct me. So I'm waiting for her to correct me. But I just love her mindset and her business attitude. She is in leadership with her mother-in-law for Encounter Church. And then she works with her husband in business. So she's going to tell you all about that. But just an incredible young lady. So before I get too carried away singing her praises, which I often do, to her face and behind her back, Jessa, tell them who you are, where you live, and what you do, my dear.
Hi, thank you, Marina. It is an honor to be here. My name is Jessa Rivera. I am from Fort Worth, Texas. I live in Alito. And what I do is that I do work with my husband, and I love serving on our worship tech ministry and leading the media with him in our church. I do work alongside my mother in love and help support and Christian Women in Media as the next generation initiative coordinator. I also am the director of operations at Manna Joseph Storehouse Food Pantry. And with all of those organizations working in the marketing and social media engagement and many hats, I also am in client services with Clemmer Leadership Training. So I am a holistic Christian life coach, and just really getting to be a reflection of Jesus is all that in everything that I do and who I be.
So, as my mom would say, when I tell her all the things I do, she would say, I'm just tired listening to you. But you are inspiring, my love, because, as I said to you just behind the scenes, that years ago, women had, and especially married women, we had one choice, and that was home. We couldn't do home and business. And we couldn't do home and business and be involved in other people's business. And so you are a modern day making history. This what it's all about, Women's History Month. And I'm not sure if you've heard this saying, but when we went to the museum is where I first saw the printed version of this, is that bad behaving women make history. And that is not true of today. Today it's women who are multifaceted are making history. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, definitely, especially, and by the way, I am a millennial. I made it at the tail end of that, and especially those around my age, and what the rise I've seen in is it's a lot of multi-passionate people, and there's so much more access. Before it was permission based, and now it's really access based of where they can get access and create it. So
Mhm.
yeah, definitely seeing that.
And then because you're in social media, you know how important this plays. And then you're in not just one format of social media, but you're on all the things that you're involved with. You're on that social media site too. How important is social media in what we do and how we do it?
So yes, social media, there are so many different outlets and the different platforms and where to engage in the age ranges and all of that. And how can you reach more people
Mhm.
within more than just where we live, where we work, and doing it digitally through social media, and with the engagement, and how can you really just play into your storytelling so that you really capture your audience. And that is the biggest thing right now in social media is being the best storyteller that you can be, so you really captivate your audience, you increase your engagement, and you increase your audience.
One of the things you've been with me for one of the Mega Women conferences, so you know
Yeah.
that I love talking about marketing. And anybody
Mhm.
that you talk to who is a strategist, a marketing strategist, always tell your story, because that's
Mhm.
what the audience connects to. It's not just the product, but it's you and your story. How have you been able? You're on again. multiple platforms that you work on. How do you help tell their story to keep them relevant and for people to find them?
Yeah, especially with COVID and people getting drawn back from really engaging face to face, and people more than ever are craving authenticity. So they want to hear the story, not
Mm,
just the fluff of Instagram is mainly about looking good and what's the
mm,
best thing that's happening in my life, and how can you also show the struggles, the testimonies, what you went through so that they
mm.
can see the both the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between so they know that if you can do it, they can do it too.
Yeah. And this that's the wonderful thing. As you could say, social media, there's good, bad, the ugly, right? But the good is that you're able to reach an audience that you wouldn't normally reach who want to know your story. So I don't want to pick on you and say, what is your story? Because you just told us how multifaceted you are. But what is the highlight of seeing women today, and especially millennials, bridge that gap of commerce and spirituality?
Yeah, so bridging that gap, and there's definitely just been a rise of the younger generation and them being hungry for God and them being curious. There's so much curiosity in asking questions. They'll question why.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
with commerce, um, and just the access that's now available through all the digital platforms, there's so much that people can create in a digital product, in a
Mhm.
personal brand, and in how they can promote themselves and promote other products so that they're creating finance, they're creating a business, just doing what they do, and people want to be a part of a community. And so
Mhm.
that's the biggest thing that I've seen and I've noticed is that people are really just building community, and when they feel seen, when they have a place of belonging, they'll buy into whatever product it is that you're selling because they trust you, and that's the biggest thing.
One of the things we talked about behind the scenes, you mentioned it here just very briefly, but I'm going to pull on that. You mentioned Clemmer
Mhm.
leadership training, right? And how I
Yeah.
pronounce that right. But it's
Yeah.
for, tell them what age groups you're working with.
Yeah, so and it is all ranges. I came in as an adult when I was 24, and I also found out that they have a youth leadership camp from ages 12 to 18. They also have a what's called playful mastery for kids from 5 to 11 years old, and the parents come in so that the parents learn what the kids are learning and take it home together. With the youth leadership camp, what they've
Mhm.
also done to help the next generation is learn what isn't normally taught in schools in the token economy so that they learn how to apply for jobs. They learn how to manage their finances when it comes to rent and car insurance. And when natural disasters happen, okay, well, then that forfeits money. And how do you still navigate and learn how to work with your community to still keep moving forward?
Oh my gosh, you just give me hope. You just give me hope, because one of the things I keep thinking of is that in crisis, like COVID, when COVID hit, a lot of our Gen Zs just did not know how to cope because they're used to
Yeah.
interacting with people, and that's
Mhm.
gone. So they've taken more now to interacting through the phone. But I love this idea, Jessa, that they're teaching them what I call life skills. Oh, teach them
Yes.
how to manage money. Come on, talk to me. Talk to
Mhm.
me, my love. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, that is definitely the thing when it comes. We were talking earlier about adulting, and
Yes.
even adults don't know how to adult.
No,
And just
no.
and and even the authenticity in that of being honest with kids and saying that, hey, I've never, as an adult, talking to younger people and saying, I haven't done this before. I'm still learning and growing. So that we're
Mhm.
shattering that idea of I have to have it all together. I have to have everything
Yes.
figured out by the time I'm 18, that we're still
Mhm.
on our journey. We're still
Yes.
constantly growing. So that we're still all students.
And I said this to a lady just recently. She said, I'm still learning. I said, we will never stop learning because the marketplace has completely changed. And even if you know it, by 6 months down the road, it's changed again, and with
Yeah.
something new to learn. So I said, just give yourself time to process. So that's my new
Mhm.
phrase. Just give me time to process. In this time of processing, for everyone, there's so much to learn, but there's so much. You said access. Speak to us about accessing knowledge.
Yeah, and what I've learned through my personal development journey is just being able to really take what I thought I knew and just being able to transform by the renewing of my mind. Romans 12:2. And
Mhm.
just being able to expand what I thought, because with the glass ceilings that we've seen now, it's not so much the physical aspect of being able to be in the office and be in those positions, but it's really the internal glass ceilings where we feel like we've come up with a barrier, and in our minds we're holding ourselves back from our true light, from our true purpose, because we're afraid actually of the success, not the failure. Because when we
Yeah.
have that success, then we get to uphold, like then it's the thinking of, I get to uphold this, or they're going to think that I failed. Or if I make a mistake now, okay, well, I'd rather just hold myself back so that they don't have these high expectations of me. And so how do we break that and shatter that, know who we are as children of God, know who he created us to be, so that we continue moving forward? And we, even if it's a fail, then we fail forward, and at least we're moving closer on our path, on our journey that God created for us.
I love it. If we fail forward, not sitting down and
Mhm.
reciting or rehearsing what has happened, but fail forward. How would you describe fail forward? How would you define that? I know, I've got a thought in my head.
Well, and because if I limit myself to what I know or what I think is safe in my comfort zone, I'm never going to learn anything different. I'm never going to grow or expand my capacity. I'll just stay stuck in this box, and I won't have change. I won't have more connections or more finance or more ability to help other people, because I'll just stay stuck there. But if I am willing to make a mistake, if I'm willing to fall on my face, at least I'm a little bit closer. I'm a little bit ahead of myself. So that way I can pick myself up, knock down 7 times, get up 8, and just be
Mm,
able to make another mistake, because then I can use that as leverage. Hey, I did that and it didn't work last time. Let me try something different, and being willing to
absolutely.
keep going.
Absolutely. And the picture that I had in my head was that some people are perfectionists, right? And they want
Yeah.
everything perfect before they begin. And there's never a
Mm-hmm.
perfect scenario. There's never, even when we set up, the camera doesn't work, the internet's
Yeah.
running, so I'm pressing buttons when I should just be waiting for it to sync up. And so we've learned through a long process that mistakes are the ability to make it right. And so, or the phrase that I think one of the ladies in Christian Women came up with this is the opportunity to make it right, the opportunity to
Mhm.
perfect. And so that's what I think falling for. And I love what you said, even falling down 7 times but getting up 8. That's a great visual. There's so much to you, Jessa, and I just love that. And I'm sure you're going to encourage so many young women and even us mature ladies too, to realize that we're not too old to learn, because this really is a learning age. Technology, we're in the age of technology. We're in the age of the last days where man's knowledge shall
Yeah.
increase. And it didn't say what age group, it just said man's knowledge, which means that's a general statement. And you're involved in so many brands, and we've heard that and seen that. Now you're in the stage of perfecting your brand. This is the journey I'm going to love watching. So, how are you taking all that you've learned from others? And I know when we talk about owning our brand, because we're multifunctional women, that means time
Mhm.
management for ourselves. And
Yeah.
it's just mention that and keep moving on. But how are you now?
Mhm.
Take all that you've learned, all the skills that now, and put it on you, and highlighting you and your husband, that personal brand.
Yeah. So what I've noticed throughout a lot of my journey is that I will get compliments on. I surround myself with a lot of people that are older than me. That's just that's just what I've noticed in the past years. And I get a lot of comments about having like an old soul wisdom, but yet joyful
Yeah.
youth,
Yeah.
and just the amount of people that I could impact. And how can I step into an abundant mindset where I have a lot of things on my plate, but I am refining the things that I have so that
Come
I
on.
can continue to expand, because I more and more I am seeing that my voice matters, that
Mhm.
a simple word can really make a difference, and I get to push past the barriers that are in my own head,
Yes.
so that I can make a difference to others, so that I can see that and have the experience when I'm have social media for my other companies. I know what works for me, and so I can
Mhm.
shift that for others. So I'm bettering myself so that I can better help serve the other companies that I work with.
I absolutely love you. You know that already. But you have said you made such an important point that I hope that women like me who are multifaceted will take a hold of. That while we are learning and being a part of others, it's refining our message and taking those very same tool sets and use it on ourselves. Because what do they say about doctors? Doctors make the worst patients, and because already know what is the outcome, and so they won't even try. And here we are, two women, and many women that will watch this are multifaceted in the areas that we serve in. Did you hear that, ladies? The areas that we serve in, yet do not neglect what's in our own selves. If you could say, I'm not going to put you on the spot and say one thing, but if you could give us a word that would encourage both millennials and all the generations that are alive right now that need to be moving forward, making history, telling our
Mhm.
story, what would you say to them?
To sum it up in one word, I would say excellence. And
Mm.
earlier you mentioned perfecting my brand, and that's actually not what I'm trying to do.
Oh,
I am striving for excellence over perfection, because I am willing to make the mistakes. I am willing to branch out, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because a lot of people will want to perfect things, like you said.
mhm.
However, if we're striving for perfection, we're not it. That's only
Yeah,
God. And so
yeah,
I can be the best that I can be. And as women, there's so much stigma of getting to perfect. You get to figure out the family at home, and you get to do your business. How are you going to do it? There's already so much doubt. And so
mhm,
being able to have grace for myself to be in
yeah,
excellence, not perfection. That's what I
yeah.
would say.
And for me, I love that because I use that. I use those two keys, perfection and excellence. But for me, it's community, because
Mm,
you are in a multifaceted community. You're not only serving, but you're learning. And that's, I
mhm.
think, the beauty of women. We can bond on the simplest things. It is
Yes.
amazing to be in a room with strangers, and the simple things we bond over, whether it's a handbag, whether it's a
Yeah.
bag, it's the shoes, and or slipping into comfortable shoes. We bond over the simplest things, but yet we bond as a community. And I think what I see worldwide is that we're willing to help each other excel. And that's above perfectionism. Excellence and excelling, it speaks volumes. And I just thank you, Jessa, for your time today. Tell them again where they can find you and what you are doing, and close us out.
Yeah, you can find me at in the midst of reestablishing myself and my brand. It's jesserivera.com, and it's coming soon. So it is in the works of a rebrand. That's where you can find me, and all the different places: Encounter Church, Mana Joseph Storehouse, Christian Women in Media. I'd love to stay connected. Thank you so much, Marina.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for this time. Ladies, it's Women's History Month. Celebrate a woman you know. Celebrate a young woman who's coming up. Don't just refer to the old. That's wonderful. They set the bar for us, but now there's so many women setting their own bar, and it's time to encourage each other, build our community, and extend our community. Thank you, Jessa. I would end my show if you are watching me on YouTube, the Mega Women's Show. I would tell you to find balance, find faith, keep hope, and most importantly, stay mega. Bless you all. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining me. See you all soon. Bye for now.